Well, thanks for sitting down with me today, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
I just wanted to start it off and just tell my viewers a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself, what you guys are about, what you guys are doing, stuff like that.
Yeah. So my name's Alex. I am the owner of White Sparrow Coffee. My name's Tommy, and I'm the manager of White Sparrow Coffee. Yeah. So right here, we kind of built a community here, we opened up a specialty coffee shop here in Old Town Tustin. I'm a native here in Tustin. I grew up, born and raised. So something that was missing was just like really good coffee, craft coffee. And I was always having to go down like Costa Mesa, out in LA to find like some really good coffee shops. And eventually, once I started getting into coffee, I was like, it'd be really cool to introduce, a specialty coffee bar into this area and just kind of see where it goes, see where it takes off. And so, we kind of got the opportunity to start off like in the bookstore right across the street and start off as a little coffee bar, just kind of jerry-rigged the whole thing. And then we grew from there and moved over here and then just kind of popped off after that.
Yeah, that's cool. It's exciting.
Yeah.
How'd you get into coffee and all of it in the first place? Is there like a deeper meaning into coffee?
For me personally, and then I know Tommy has some good feedback also, but for me, it was just like, getting in when I was in college, I just loved, going to coffee shops to study and get some work done. And I think eventually I just kind of fell in love with the atmosphere. And just really cool ambiance, a lot of cool baristas. I love seeing just kind of the regulars of customers that come in and day out and they get super personable with you. That's something that I really enjoyed. And I've always been very hospitable. So I loved having people over to my place or inviting people to go, do some having people come over just to kind of enjoy the atmosphere that I'm able to provide. And that's kind of something I want to provide to not just my friends and family, but an entire community. Yeah. So for me, it's always been about that, just I worked at Disneyland for 4 or 5 years. And so being able to almost treat each person as a guest in your home, it was nice. It was kind of nice seeing the feedback and people's faces lit up. When you really welcome them in with open arms and they feel at home, they feel like your friends and you treat them well. It's a great atmosphere to be involved in or a part of. So, that's kind of my main thing. And, we continue to do that here.
For sure.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
Tommy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in coffee for close to 6 years now, and I feel like a big part of it for me was I'd always been in food service, and coffee kind of stuck with me throughout that. I've served, I've done all that stuff, but coffee was kind of just this nice bridge between a customer and a business, just being able to cultivate so much out of it. Yeah. I think it goes a lot past the cup of coffee, and I think it's how we've cultivated a lot of community here. And it sucks because I feel like that community term is kind of lost nowadays. So many coffee shops are pushing that, but in reality, I feel like there's a lack of it too. I think they try and sell that image, and I feel like for us, that's something that's really important, and we kind of built it on our backs. I think one of the favorite examples I always like to do is that we've seen us organically grow, and we've seen our customers kind of grow with us too, from getting married to having kids and getting to know their kids and knowing their parents and stuff like that. I think it's a really beautiful thing that naturally has happened, and it's nice seeing the toddlers come in and now they're full grown kids now and they're walking in, and I think that's a big part of why we do what we do. And I think on top of that too, while still maintaining a pretty strong coffee program,
For sure.
we really do a lot of just heart and soul into every drink that we put out, and we so
Sure. Awesome. Yeah, I want to talk more about community. I know you guys kind of already talked a little bit about how important it is to you. Besides just the efforts that you guys are making in store, what other efforts are you making with kind of cultivating the community? Because I think honestly, like you were saying, Tustin doesn't really have that sense of community outside of this. So there isn't really any other coffee shop that has the idea that you guys are trying to cultivate. So yeah, what other efforts are you guys kind of trying to make?
I feel like a big part of us is just staying true to who we are. I think our story of starting out as a cart, Alex starting this after doing the whole corporate thing and doing all the jobs he did, and me being in food service for so long, he brought me on right when he started this whole thing. And I feel like we've just let things kind of happen organically. I feel like we don't like to force anything upon anyone. We just kind of stayed true to ourselves and stayed true to our menu, and we let things kind of grow. Starting the menu out with 4 drinks, and now honestly have close to 30. It's we've put so much time and effort into that, and then staying consistent with that too. I think that's another thing that was really important to us, is that consistent cup of coffee that you can always rely on us for. And then also just events too, like catering, stuff like that. Like that was also a big, the root of like everything. We started out as the bookstore, but then we also did weddings. We've done events, here, events here and everything. Like that was huge, So we've done like little wine nights out back, and we've done like a big 1 year anniversary party, and like we're coming up on our 2 year, and we're like already planning for that. I think that's a big thing, is that there isn't a lot going on out here. So we kind of are trying to give people a reason to come out, like find things to do out here, and I think we want to be one of those things that are consistently doing that. We always have pop-ups too, and we like to, like, as a small business ourselves, we like to support other small businesses. So like every Saturday we try to have someone out front, being able to sell something, get them off their feet too, and that's like kind of what happened to us, So I think it's just returning the favor back to the community.
That's cool. I love that. I want to know more about your guys' past history and like kind of what paths you guys took that got you to this. Like, how did you guys meet? What experience did you guys, have that took you to where you're at now?
I met Alex probably middle of COVID. I was working at a coffee bar out in Costa Mesa. I was like on my like 4th year there. We kind of like rode it out through COVID, and I met Alex through my old director at Nook, Eddie. Said this guy's like opening up a coffee cart, and I was like, oh, it's cool. And coffee carts weren't really a big thing back then,
Especially during COVID.
especially during COVID. So like it was just kind of weird. And then basically like we're coming up on the tail end of COVID. It was like that summer of like 2021, and he just started coming every day, and he laughs about it now because like that summer was like everything to like everyone at the lab and to all the people that came into the lab and everything. Like it was like a peak summer, a lot of great memories were made, and we became close. We barely remember it, fortunately, but it was like it's such a crazy time. And then to look back on that and then look at now, I think it's crazy because he basically poached me. I had like left coffee and was pursuing other things, and he was like, hey, I want you part of this. Like when he was like finishing up the build out here, and it's just things kind of happened organically. Like I said earlier, and I think just like that was a big part about everything. Like we just kind of like hustled at it, and it was just me and him here and another guy when we first opened for like the first couple months. Just us three running down, holding it down here at the shop. So yeah,
That's cool.
I mean, kind of get back to that kind of summer where we met. It was just kind of like, I was at the bookstore, and I had a couple guys come in. They knew the Nook guys, and they came super close. They invited us out. We were literally like going out every other day. They had like a little bar across the way from Nook called Ruin Bar. We'd be there every other day, and just hanging out, and just like it was just crazy. It was a great. It's cool. Great experience just having to meet him and then the rest of the guys, and then getting eventually to bring him down into to work here. But for me, it was just like, again, kind of back to like how I kind of got back into things. It was just I just wanted to bring into something a little bit more niche and like crafty into Old Town Tustin, and introduce something. I never thought I would ever own a business. Like I'm always like, I'll just work for someone and like do that. But I was like, I kept getting pushed by friends and like people like you already make really great coffee at home and you share it with us and it's great, and like put it out there, like, don't be afraid. So I just put a coffee cart together, got some friends, did our first couple events, and we came out here and and we did it. And so, but it was at least to say it was like wasn't easy obviously, but it was probably some of the best years of my life, just going through all the stress and the struggles and all that. I loved it all. I'd do it all over again. It's super fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I know catering's been like a huge part of your guys' identity too. So I want you guys to talk, tell me, the history of catering. I know you guys like kind of still do catering too.
Yeah.
Despite still have like a physical store and stuff, but maybe tell me like a few of your favorite events you guys catered at. I know Coachella has been a big thing too.
Coachella, yeah. So we've done, we started off doing just kind of little like small events at farmers markets. We were doing pop-ups at breweries and that kind of stuff, and like little private events and whatnot. And then, started getting more into like conferences and doing like all these bigger events. But the one that really kind of like surprised us and was really a great opportunity was Coachella, the music festival. I got hit up like early 2022, remember, right when we were still building this place out, and one of my friends told me, he's like, hey, like Golden Voice is looking for like coffee, and like you were the first person that popped up, and they loved what they saw on your profile and like what you guys are all about, and they want they want to have you guys. And so had a conversation with like Old Boys, and we talked it out, set up all the details, and then we ran it from there. And then this is our 3rd year. And then, Tommy is the one that kind of like, we planned it out together, but he holds it down. He holds the whole thing. So I know he has a lot more.
Yeah. I mean, like, I remember the first year we did it back in 2022, we literally had like a week or so to plan it. It was like super crazy, like when they actually confirmed with us, and we were like, that was when he kind of like fully poached me from Nook. I was so kind of like doing things, I wasn't fully working here yet. He was still waiting on the build out. So like I knew that he was doing a lot of other things, and during that period of time we hadn't really seen each other. Just he was busy with this and I was busy just pursuing other things. And he called me up and I was in LA, and he was like, "You want to go to Coachella?" And I was like, "What are you talking
Of course.
about?" And I was like, "Sure." Lo and behold, there was a behemoth of logistical nightmares that we were not prepared for. Like it was just me, him, and like 3 other dudes that volunteered to come and help us out, and we like made it happen though. And I think that was a big part about just kind of the same kind of ethics of like how we kind of built this business too, is that we just like figure it out. Like even though it could be a headache and it could be a logistical nightmare, I think we went out there and we put in the time. And I think we've been blessed to be invited back the last 2 years, and we just got back from the 3rd year doing it. And I think that was like, we've kind of got it down now for the most part, and hopefully you guys will catch us at Stagecoach next year. But like it's a great opportunity, and it's really fun being able to like serve such a wide audience out there. You have people from everywhere, whereas like out here we're just serving Old Town Tustin. So it's like it's nice to know that we can make a bigger impact out there, and also just like be able to celebrate that like big thing. We're able to bring some of our team now, and like there's so much that happens inside and outside of Coachella now, so it's really cool.
It's exciting. You were talking about kind of serving a bigger impact, like a bigger audience. Do you guys ever see yourself like expanding to more locations? Or do you think that there's like a certain like feel or charm to just like having this one coffee spot? I don't know if you know what I mean. I personally, I think like you can tell like when like someone really cares about what they're doing, and when I come here, I can tell you guys really care about what you're doing. And I think some of that might get lost when you see people starting to try to expand. So do you guys see yourself ever trying to expand and kind of like you're saying, like trying to cover a bigger demographic, a bigger area, and reach more? Or do you ever kind of just want to stay where you guys are at?
I feel like we've talked about it, and we definitely want to make a move eventually. I think it's more or less like our heart and soul's here, and this is the flagship. And like there's so much to figure out here still. So we don't want to rush it. We want to stay true to ourselves, like I said earlier. I think that's like a big part of it, is that sometimes when you're like, as a business, you want to chase the money or chase, expanding super quickly. I think that works out for some people, but like for us, like we've been given the opportunity and we considered it, but I think it's about right timing. And being one of the smallest shops, if not the smallest in Orange County, there's a lot of battles that we figure out here every week, and we're still growing with the business as well, and we're still figuring out a lot of the things. So we don't want to like dive into something else and then lose that authenticity here. So
sure.
I think it's definitely down the line for us, and it's something that Alex is still every day thinking about. But I think we just kind of let things happen naturally too. I think that's just, it stays true to us and how we just always run the business, and I don't think we need to force anything.
For sure.
But yeah.
Cool. You guys are both from Orange County, right? I know you said you're from here. Where are you from?
I was born in Long Beach, but then I grew up in Costa Mesa, basically.
So you guys have been here kind of like your whole life.
I've been here my whole life.
I've been the same way. I born and raised in Orange County.
Yes,
I loved it. I think there's such a difference between like LA and Orange County, and just how people talk and behave. I think Orange County is just like the perfect spot for coffee spots. There's a reason why there's so many coffee spots out here, is because I think just community, and it's so diverse, and I think people are just a lot more just like relaxed and chilly compared to like LA and stuff. So I wanted to get your guys' insight on like, what do you guys think about Orange County? What do you love about it? What do you hate about it? Why do you think?
I think so Orange County is like very laid back. I feel there's definitely like a huge difference in the type of people that are like, that's LA, and then there's Orange County. I think Orange County, again, like it's very laid back. There's a lot of neighborhoods. I feel like there's a lot of community. Not to say there's not that out in LA, but I feel like LA's so different. I feel like LA has a lot more grit. I feel like LA's a little bit more volatile and chaotic, but I think that's what a lot of people like. It's almost like New York also. New York has its own sense of like,
Urgency.
has its own rhythm, urgency. There's a whole rhythm going on here.
Yeah.
But what I love about Orange County, I mean, it's like it's very vibe. It's very laid back. You work right super close to the beach. Not to say that LA isn't, but it's just like we have just like really everything just feels very passive, very calm over here. We don't have like skyscrapers, tall buildings or any of that kind of stuff. So it feels very at home. But LA is also great. When you're trying to go out, when you're trying to see something like a show or something big, you're trying to see something crazy. I feel like LA is kind of where it's at. There's also a lot of great coffee shops out there, but you'll definitely notice also the difference. The types of the coffee shops over there compared to the coffee shops over here. But I know Tommy goes out to LA a lot.
Yeah.
So he has he's a experience out of LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like being born in Orange County and like spending the majority of my life here, I think, especially working in like the food service industry for so long, I've done so much stuff out in LA, done so much stuff out here. I think like the beauty about serving in Orange County, in my opinion, is just like it feels a lot more intimate. I think in LA, because of that urgency and that grit that kind of Alex said, I think, you lose that in that process. But I think people in LA kind of don't make time for that. And kind of that segues off what I said earlier about like community, is that like we're able to take that time, being in a small town like this in Tustin. I feel like we're in like a little pocket in Orange County. Like every little city is its own pocket. And like, I feel like if you know someone from Tustin, you know someone from Costa Mesa, you know someone from Costa Mesa, you know someone from Fullerton. And I feel like LA is just like this one big bubble. All the cities have kind of now like merged together, and it's like it's just like one big cluster.
Yeah.
And it's like you basically feel like you can't really do much out there. I feel like now. I think it's just there's so much competition, and I feel like it's that competitive nature also equally can feel very toxic.
Definitely.
But I think in Orange County, like we could organically just do what we're doing, and like stay in our little bubble perhaps. But I think that a big part of it is that like we're able to serve, people come from Costa Mesa. People have told us they've come from like the Inland Empire and LA and stuff like that because they've heard about us. And I feel like being able to, perhaps be in our bubble but invite people in, I feel like you don't get that in LA. When you're in LA, you're serving LA folk, and like when you're in Orange County, you're serving, just like every city feels different. You meet all these different people, and like you're like, oh my god, you know that person, and it's like, oh dude, like it's like, I feel like that's really cool, and I feel like me and Alex and all of our baristas encounter that a lot, where we like, oh my god, I didn't know you knew that person, or like, and I think that's
Very small town. Like, I feel like obviously it's such a big county, but like, yeah, when you start going around, it's like, oh, like everyone knows everyone.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
All the baristas kind of know each other, and like
cool.
we've all seen each other, and I think just like, yeah, you just have a lot of mutuals, and I feel like that's like the coolest part about all of this and being a barista, is that you meet so many people every day, and then like when you cultivate that and you keep growing upon it, you don't realize how intertwined that is with like everything in Orange County. So yeah.
Cool. Awesome. I know you guys kind of already like touched base on this a little bit. Like I was saying earlier, I feel like Orange County is like such a good just hotspot for coffee spots. Like there's so many coffee spots out here.
Too many.
Too many, yeah. It's a big saturation in it. So like how do you guys combat that? Like how do you guys provide kind of like a unique experience that makes people want to come to your guys' spot over the millions of other ones that are in Orange County?
I feel like we were just talking about this yesterday, like with the summer season coming up and like us coming up on our 2-year, we've learned a lot in like, that first year business, especially last year as a whole. We've been blessed to continue to grow and, almost to like a point where it feels a little bit unmanageable, but we make it work. I think like a big part of it is like the drinks that we do. We've last year we kind of started pursuing like new seasonal drinks and these new experimental things, and I feel like a big part of that was like our fall menu last year. And we did like a s'mores drink, from everything that we like sourced to, from like the graham crackers to the hand cut marshmallows that were like shipped to us, and like everything was fresh and everything was like small batch and everything was really carefully thought out. And I feel like that kind of set the tone for like everything that we did following that, and being able to incorporate cold foams and different flavors that people haven't tried. That's also the beauty about serving like a small town like Tustin. We've been able to introduce all these people into like different things, and me and Alex spend weeks and weeks just trying to perfect one drink. We'll try everything that we can think of, and I think that's like the coolest part about it all, you know? So I think being able to bring something new to the table every few months really helped us kind of build something too, because people get so excited to try these things, and it almost creates like a demand for it too. But yeah, I'll let Alex explain on it.
Aside from just kind of like the beverage making component of like all that stuff, I think like for me, just having to provide a space where, you know, people can actually feel welcome, because people want to be a part of something, you know, whether they just come in just for like as a routine just to get their coffee. Like we just go in that extra mile, and like just having that little bit of conversation with this person every single day, like you'll see their face light up. It makes a huge difference. And then for me, just being like, again, like very inviting towards like people, whether it's at my home or anywhere else where I go, it's just like that's something that I've always learned to implement everywhere I go, whether it's like my baristas or like my friends and other family. I was just like always be like welcoming, like treat everyone just really well, and like, you know, they're gonna love just being surrounded by you. And that's what I want to establish here. I don't want this just to become like a routine coffee shop. We'll just come in, get my coffee, and get out. Like people come in, and like we know like the majority of customers, they know our names, they know like our story, they know our brothers and sisters, because we're so close to them. So, you know, we try to establish that relationship with these people, and, you know, they love it. We love them. You know, it just creates a great community. And it's like, you know, it's just something that, you know, I feel like a lot of coffee shops lack. This is why I also kind of like pursued this. It's just because like I wanted to open up something that was like geared towards like the people, and not just like just straight up coffee, even though at the end of the day, that's what the business is. But I wanted to add that little extra spark to it. So
I love that.
yeah.
Next question I have, I always like asking everyone I interview this question. Where do you see your guys, where do you see yourself in like the next like 5 years? What do you guys want to be doing?
Yeah. So for myself, I mean, eventually, you know, depending on where White Sparrow goes, you know, if we go 1 or 2 more, I mean, you know, I think definitely I'd keep a cap at it. Like I wouldn't want to go this after that, you know, because it definitely is, you lose sight of like the actual vision once you start to grow too big. So eventually I'd like to do something like that. Again, I love Old Town Tustin. I would love to continue to see it grow, but I feel like it's been stagnant for so long, and I'm like, unless someone comes in and does something different, then nothing's ever gonna get done. So I want to be able to open up a wine bar. I want to be open up like some kind of brewery, something else that is going to attract people here to hang out on the weekends, or maybe throughout the week. And then, you know, there's a bunch of coffee shops, yes, but maybe there's something else that people can come and do. So I want to be able to like provide that other thing for them. If no one else is going to do it, I'm going to come in and do it, you know? So I want to be able to do that. And then eventually, I don't know, who knows, who's to say, I might just open up a pizza shop or something, you know? Yeah. But I know Tommy's got some like big plans too.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been with Alex basically through most of White Sparrow's history, and being in coffee for so long, I actually in the process of opening my own coffee shop. So I feel like, you know, I've had a blessed opportunity here and being able to like build this out and see how it all is logistically, and, you know, seeing the community grow and everything. It kind of further encouraged me to like want to do what I want to do, and I always knew that I wanted to open a coffee shop, and I think this was kind of like a big stepping stone for me. So yeah, I mean, even though I would be technically leaving, I feel like a big part of it is that like this relationship will always be there, and, you know, I always feel like I'm part of White Sparrow, and I think that we've, you know, a big part of it is I'm gonna miss a lot of the customers. Honestly, like that was like the best part of the job, you know, like that. I feel like a lot of just working in coffee is just like making drinks, and it feels like a drag, and I feel like being able to work here was like a huge blessing. You know, like you learn so much, and we were able to like just see so much happen around us, and, you know, it was all just really authentic, and it was really beautiful. So I almost wanted to take everything I've learned here and, you know, bring that to Long Beach, hopefully, and you know, so I'll be, you know, hopefully getting that up and running pretty soon.
Awesome. Cool. Well, you got the mic too. I know you're really into fashion. I want to just get your guys' opinion on like, how do you see fashion in here? How important is it? Do you guys ever see yourself like branching out into other creative outlets, you know, instead of just coffee?
We got merch coming. I think that was something that we never really like. We like always knew we wanted to do it, but I think just with the gripes and the struggles of like everything, like trying to run the coffee program and making sure we were staying consistent, and, you know, having such a small team, it was really tough for me and Alex to really like sit down and want to like get something out. But also, I think whenever we did do it, we wanted to make sure it was like perfect. So like the current merch run it's taken us a couple months, you know, just making sure we get the right blanks to the right, colors and everything that we want to align with the business. I think that was really big. And then like fashion and Tustin is honestly, well, Siren, we probably know him. Yeah, he probably came in this morning. But yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of our customers, like we kind of we have like a nice fine balance of like younger customers to like older customers, and I think Tustin is like almost like a retirement kind of like new family kind of city. So a lot of like older folk come, and like I think like everyone's dressed pretty well. I think everyone always appreciates how well we're dressed. Everyone here has a very different style, from like Alex to me to like everyone. Like I think style is a big way of like creating personality for yourself and how you express yourself and how you want to represent yourself. And I feel like that was a big thing, is that like from like everyone that we've hired, like everyone is such a core part of it, and I feel like their style plays a big part in it too. Like we allow our employees to like wear what they want to wear, as long as it's within reason. And I think that allows them to be who they are, and like we don't want to like throw uniforms at them or aprons or anything. Like we wanted them to be them and be comfortable, and I feel like customers appreciate that. They see us always just like well dressed and well comfy and we're cool. And I think we've been told by customers too that like they love our style, and like they see the inspo and stuff. So I think it's cool. Yeah,
That's cool. Yeah. What do you think? What's your opinion on just Orange County in general? Its grasp on fashion. Obviously, I think like LA is a very like hot spot for fashion. I think what I'm trying to do with the magazine is really shed light on stuff that gets overshadowed a lot from LA and creatives and brands, and I think there is a lot of potential in fashion out here.
Yeah, I did a lot of like fashion editorial, like photography, and I've been freelancing for my entire time doing coffee as well as like a side hobby. I think a big part of fashion in LA is that it's very just like cutthroat, and it's super competitive, and everyone wants to start a brand, and I feel like the brands that I've seen thrive in the last 5 years are all brands that just stay true to who they are. I think like you can't just start, I think fashion and as like starting a brand is very similar to starting a coffee shop. And I think or even just starting a business, I think, you got to go through the motions and everything. And as much, even though you're putting out a good product, if it doesn't have good meaning and it's not true, it's not going to stick.
For sure.
And I think a big problem right now in fashion is that everyone's trying to just copy each other. You'll see a lot of the same things, and it's that culture that's been kind of created where like you can't find a true product that you can actually appreciate, and it's like the economy's just going up, everything's getting more expensive. People think that throwing like a nice graphic on a really expensive blank is going to change them and make them appear different, but it's not, So, you still got to be able to, find the audience and find the niche that you want to grow in, and then like really just continue to cultivate that and like build upon that. But yeah, I think Orange County has a lot of potential. I think there's a lot of dope people that have come in that are starting brands, and they still they're not out to chase a bag, but they're out to like build something meaningful too. And I think we always do our best to support who we can also. And yeah, cool.
Are there any like brands you guys are looking up to that's based off of OC right now? Brands, people, creatives. I know you're wearing a bunch of Stussy right now. They're from OC.
Yeah, Stussy. Some of my favorite brands are, Basket Case out in Costa Mesa. I used to work at Nook, so I used to, I saw them growing really organically, and I think that was a really dope thing. Like I remember their like first few pop-ups, they were smaller, and now you go out to them, there's like thousands of people, and their turnover rate is huge, and people are chasing their stuff, and I think that's really cool. I think seeing what they've done over there creatively, but just like, yeah, I just know how hard they work and how much time they put into it. Yeah.
For you?
I mean, like for me, it's just like I look to up to a lot of like creatives. I mean, like a lot of my inspiration I get a lot from like Instagram. I'll be looking through a different like explore page, and I'll be hopping around just kind of see kind of like latest trends, whether it's in coffee and beverages, or I start looking at like, okay, what are people like wearing out today? What are people like pursuing nowadays? And it's all just kind of like social media has like really been impacted on that. So it's just like, whenever you try to look for something, it's just like you constantly look online, and you're always bound to find something on there.
Yeah.
So yeah, so any little inspiration I can get, I'll source it either social media or just kind of like word of mouth of like friends and really.
Awesome. Quick little question. You guys have over 30 items on your menu now.
Yeah.
Over the years, what do you think's like the favorite menu item that you guys have ever created? I know, a little dumb question, but like,
The love on the weekend, like
yeah. I want to know about that. Yeah, endorsed by John Mayer. Tell me about that. I know.
That's all. Or we always like to, I mean,
That drink was just that. So when I first started my coffee cart, it was just basically, it was one of the first drinks that I wanted to put out, and like, all of the syrups and all the ingredients that I sourced are like either abroad or like out of state. I know I could make syrups right here. We don't have like a big kitchen, so I'm gonna make syrups, but I make an effort to source ingredients from like these small batch companies that solely put their heart and soul into making one single product. And I'm like, okay, you guys spend so much money on making this product. I know it's gonna be good. Let me test it out. So, a lot of these ingredients, I put them together. And so Love on the Weekend came about, and with this, like, it's like an earthy honey. It's like a really sophisticated, like, raw vanilla bean from like Madagascar. And, it's like a combination of these flavors just really made this drink stand out than your average just kind of like sweetened latte, it really stood out. It definitely like hits those taste buds. And, this drink was just like, it was so popular, and I love this drink so much. And, I named it Love on the Weekend because, I also wanted to add a little bit of like, flavor to these like names. And so I was like, hey, what can I name this? Like, I want to name it after a song, and so I was like, at that time, like one of my favorite artists was like John Mayer, and so Love on the Weekend came about. When it came out, I was just, man, this song's a banger. And before opening up the store, I was like, I'm just gonna name it Love on the Weekend, and it's not officially endorsed by John Mayer, but without putting that, people were like, they just think of Love on the Weekend, like, oh, it's kind of weird. But so I was like, I approved by John Mayer, so there's kind of that relationship, that they can tell that. But yeah, cool. that's kind of like our top seller, ever. So
awesome, cool. You were talking about a little bit about like sourcing ingredients. I know it's super important that you find kind of like quality ingredients and stuff like that. What's the process with sourcing all that stuff?
I think like a big part of the way we source is like, we're willing to try everything that we can find. We'll spend hundreds of dollars trying to find the right syrup, and like Love on the Weekend was one of those. Like we wanted to find something that like stuck, and I think once we find it and we know it's good, it's about taking that and like elevating it all alongside everything else that we're gonna do. From the syrups to the way we garnish to the flavor profiles that we mix together. It's a very new and fresh to these people, in our customer base. And I think that we want to be able to be inviting to every kind of person. We want to be able to find on our menu, we've made it so like vast and different from one another that we know that we can like ask you and find a drink that fits you, whether that's your vibe or your flavors or what your preferences are. We've tried to put a lot of energy into that too. So like I think a big part of it too is that because we've tried so many different things, we've made really good relationships with like so many different syrup companies, and like all the syrup companies kind of know each other, and we get recs from like people that like Alex said have been doing just syrups for so long, as a business, and being able to like work alongside them and really closely with them and seeing what they can do for us too. And hopefully one of these days we'll have our own syrup or something that we can work and like, maybe sell, who knows? But yeah.
Yeah. Cool. And then kind of adding on that with like sustainability and ethical sourcing and stuff like that. How important are those factors in what you guys do?
Yeah, I think that a big part of that is just kind of like going back to kind of like sourcing just like real ingredients and like supporting companies that, have like they're mission driven. So, a lot of these companies that we do like source from, like they actually, they do a lot of like charitable events. They'll donate a lot of their funds that they do, or like everything that they do, like there's a mission that they have, and it's like towards impacting the community, for good. So, that's something we strive to do. And like as far as sustainability, you know, like the coffee that we source is like organic, and you know, we make sure that everything that we use, like, you know, it's been sourced properly. You know, we don't want to have anything that's artificial, anything that's like, you know, that's just going to cause damage to people. You know, that's the last thing we want to do. We want to make sure that the product that we bring in, you know, whether it's like merch, whether it's the consumable goods, it's just like everything is sourced properly, and it's like it's a good impact on the community.
For sure. Cool. You know, you guys have been here for a couple of years now too.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've gone over a bunch of obstacles and challenges over the years. You're a pretty small team. I just want to, you know, tell me a couple of challenges that you guys have faced over the years. You know, what's been hard, stuff like that.
I feel like a lot of our challenges is, like I said earlier, like we are a small shop. You know, we're 300 something square feet. You know, from like just getting the doors open. You know, like Alex was struggling with the health department to like getting permitted and everything. You know, like that is like the biggest challenge on us, just getting your doors open. I think starting out, we had this like small little ice machine, and that, you know, served us well for like a couple months. You know, we had to like squeeze in like an actual ice machine, you know, out back, and like we've had to like basically try and like play Tetris every week, you know, and every week, and we, you know, especially the first year and like 6 months that we were open, every week something was like challenging us. You know, we had to like change something, or we had to figure out a new way to do something. And I think a big part of it now is that we're still learning as we go. You know, I think as we continue to get busier, I think it's just like there's so many logistical things, you know, from how much milk we can carry, and you know, we've had to almost kind of like play the game in a way, you know, from like even getting our suppliers to be able to deliver multiple times a week versus one time a week. You know, it's not, we're very different in that regard, where we've had to do it like that, because, you know, if we had a bigger space, it'd be really easy. You know, we'd be able to like store so much more and never have to worry about it. But a big part of it here is like, because we're doing something new all the time, and we're always, you know, turning over the volume we are, I think it's like, that's been like honestly the hardest challenge, you know, is it keeping up with the volume and making sure that we never run out of anything. You know, that was like the biggest part, is that like for the first year we kept running out of things. You know, like how can we combat that? How can we, you know, not waste goods and waste product, especially, you know, some things like what was moving, you know. So like if we ever sold out of love on the weekend, like it would be a mess. You know, and like that's only thankfully happened like once, and maybe for a day or two, you know, but we'll make it happen, and we'll, even if it costs us more money to get it here the next day to make sure we can still make customers happy, like we're willing to do that, you know. So yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, you guys making it work with a tiny shop.
Yeah, we're the tiniest shops here in Orange County.
Yeah, it is.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Love it though. I think with, you know, the rise of social media, digital media, online reviews and stuff like that, obviously plays a big part into your growth too, you know, with TikTok and everything. How have you seen your growth? Has online, internet, social media helped with your growth? Has it hindered? How do you even just manage an online presence, responding to feedback, stuff like that?
Yeah, I think most of our foot traffic, you know, comes from, you know, these apps like Yelp and Google, you know. So, you know, when they get out of the house, they hop in the car, the first thing they do is like, all right, first destination, so they'll look up a coffee shop. So whether it's on Yelp or Google, they'll find the shop, or if they're used to coming to their favorite shop, that's kind of where they're held to. But yeah, those are kind of like the ones that we rely on to bring in people. Social media does help, you know. It's, you know, whenever we post stories on Instagram, you know, people will see that. It basically reminds people that, you know, we're still in there in the gram. So you'll see one of our new stories, and people will come in, be like, hey, I saw you guys have a new drink and stuff like that. So we'll post up new drinks on social media, people will see them. It's definitely helped us out, but it's also, you know, it definitely affected at some points. You know, you can't always make everyone happy. You know, there's going to be that one person that's going to complain about the smallest little detail. You know, we might have missed the syrup because it was so busy, or, you know, we might have not filled the rim, you know, milk all the way to the, you know, the rim of the cup. And so it's just like little things like that, like really like irk people. And so like first thing they do is just like, we'll get to like Yelp and start typing out like the worst review that they can write. But I mean, what I've taught the guys and like what I've input here is just like, just always be good to people. You know, if the drink comes out wrong, remake it for them. It's no big deal. It doesn't take that long. But yeah, just I feel like some people are very like trigger happy and are just very quick to hop on like social media or just like, these other apps. Yeah, basically. Exactly. Yeah, no, exactly. And so like in the beginning, I used to be very like, I don't know, like when I would get like a bad review, like it would hurt me. I was like,
Yeah.
oh man, like, but then I just learned, I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to be able to make everyone happy. I'm not, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not going to fight these people. I'm just like, you know what? If we did make a mistake, you know, we'll learn from it and, we'll make sure it doesn't happen again. But there's just certain things that we just can't do. And like, these people want us to like, bend over them and like do the most for them. And it's just like, we're still people, like you just respect, we're here to serve you and, make you some really good coffee. But, at the end of the day, it's just like, I think people just kind of sometimes expect a little bit more, At the end of it, we consider ourselves like, people tell us, you guys are our therapists. You guys are like our friends, to come and tell us their life story and all this kind of stuff. And you listen, we hear them out, and that's what we're here for, But yeah.
Cool. Yeah. One last question for you guys. Orange County. I've been talking about that a bunch. I just wanted to get you guys is like, what's some of your favorite spots in Orange County? Coffee, not coffee, food, stuff to do, entertainment. Like, I think there's so much to do in OC. My family's from like a super small town in Arkansas, and like there's literally nothing to do out there. And I think we're super fortunate to be in a big city where there is a lot of stuff to do. There's a lot of stuff at our disposal. So yeah, just like what's some of your guys' favorite spots? What do you guys love about Orange County?
In terms of like coffee, I feel like my personal two favorites are Stereoscope and Thank You. I think I really like what they're doing over there. Great spots and great people. From like food, I feel like we eat a lot. There's a lot of good food, but man, what is good? I don't know. I like going to all these places that just like, for me, I like coffee. Like I'll go down to Costa Mesa. I'll still go back to Costa Mesa, but even then, like, I feel like I don't drink as much coffee as I used to anymore. I just kind of go for the atmosphere, catch up with some friends and whatnot. But food, again, there's tons of great food. So I'm always like, whether it's with Tommy or we're at a new restaurant or we're grabbing sushi, we're grabbing Mexican food. It's always like really, really great food, hole in the wall places that we love going to. There's so many. But for me, I think when I go to a spot, I think I love going to a place that has just like a really great ambiance. It's a place where I can hang out with friends. I know the service and the people are going to be great. And it's just like, I want to leave the place leaving like happy. I'm like, this is such a cool vibe. And I recommend my friends to come here. But coffee, I love Neat Coffee out of Costa Mesa. They're super cool. And then, just some other hole in the wall places in the area. But I mean, there's so much. I really can't like say a specific.
About it forever.
There's so much, yes, which I'm grateful for. LA definitely has a lot more. Which is cool. But I think OC is starting to get there a little bit more for options. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. You guys have any questions for me or anything or?
We're excited for you to get this magazine, up and running. So we're super stoked to see that. Man, you got us into, that event for Fugazi. So again, thank you for that. We really appreciate you, and man, it's all I can say. But thank you for having us here. It's an honor and a blessing to be here to, support you and your endeavors.
Yeah, of course. I think I mentioned earlier I chose you guys because I think it just makes the most sense. I think what's really important to me is quality.
Yeah.
Collaborating with people that like I know that like really care about what they're doing, and it's really, really obvious that what you guys are doing, like you guys care about. So I think it's an awesome fit, and I'm super glad I had the time to interview.
Dude, thank you. Yeah, thank you, man. Feelings mutual. So appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
All right, cool. All right, Captain. Thank you.